MVP Black look like they want to go home early tonight, G-Clef. They took the 2-0 lead. They're giving Malthael the first official pro match of Malthael in Heroes of the Storm was played just on our last game on his best map, Battlefield of Eternity. So we'll see if this trend continues or what ends up happening. I really do want to hear from Rich as to whether or not they wanted to counter it, if they wanted to give it away, and then they just got it, or if this was, or if they think it's not like first pick material right now.
Yeah, I think BlossoM had okay with the Colossus Smash. I think lowering that armor when Malthael pops that Tormented Soul, I think that was the counterplay with the Nubar HGC they were looking for. But by level 10, the game was already like over there. They're on to the core by level 10, and he used one. He got one kill. That was it. The game already exploded. Giving Malthael from the draft seems very dangerous stuff right now.
Yeah, they banned it. We saw it banned as the second ban on Dragon Shire, not Dragon Shrine.
Whoa!
Oh, we're going to Braxis! Well, this is not a Malthael map. Like, well, you can't play it here.
And MVP Black chose this map.
Yeah, this might be their first time ever.
Never pick Braxis. They always ban StarCraft Battlegrounds. This is very unlikely.
They played no games of Braxis at Mid-Season Brawl, and no games of Warhead Junction, go figure. But those are the only two maps they did not play the entire tournament. I don't have their pick rates in front of me right now, but we do normally have those, so you'll probably check on that for you guys tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure it's 0. They never ever picked Warhead nor Braxis.
I agree. I don't think they ever did. It was pretty unusual, so it's time, though, to find out what Rich has planned for this one, because I feel like this is definitely some showmanship coming out for MVP Black, or maybe it's because StarCraft Remaster's release date was announced today. I don't know.
That's
but
right. Maybe they're celebrating the remastered along with every one of us.
I will be missing several weeks of casting Heroes of the Storm while I'm in PC Bong's playing that, so if you guys wonder where I went, you'll probably find me on my personal stream. So we are going to see a Nubarak banned here, the Genji, so this looks familiar.
Let's see if D.Va comes out from BlossoM from the beginning. That self-explosion onto the Zerg wave is crazy good. It's like almost good as Lava Wave good. And we don't rip Ragnaros. We don't see really Ragnaros again coming out. But I'm pretty sure both teams are considering D.Va coming out. As we saw Sign the God playing on D.Va. Inferno Shrines, not on this map. Seems pretty powerful right now. D.Vas keep getting nerfed, but still very powerful.
Yeah, well, the big nerfs coming into the next patch, not for this one. So, self-destruct going to be, you know, just as viable in the future. But for this patch, she also does a lot more damage. Her boosters, her Q, upgrade at level 1 as well. These nerfs are not going to be live today, but I believe, as you said earlier, will be live next week. So, a weekend of Malthael dominance. The Ariel taking those. This starts to feel like a Gul'dan draft for BlossoM. The old ways for this map. Vala is still very strong here too, but I don't think Black will give it away.
It's all about the sustain in the laning, because if you get pushed in even one lane, if you lose that beacon control, it's basically you will very likely to lose that beacon control and the Zerg wave, incoming Zerg wave. So that's the thing. Chromie first pick.
Well,
okay.
Chromie doesn't have the best wave clear, but it's not the worst. But she's going to be very aggressively trying to poke and get kills. And when you have a Chromie pick like this, first of all, it's going to make everybody laugh, as Wiz finds this to be pretty funny. When you have the Chromie pick like this against any sort of Ariel hero, it's going to be likely the Gul'dan or it's going to be the Vala. But Chromie can just blow them up insanely quickly, even without Temporal Loop. But once she has Temporal Loop at level 8, you just blow these heroes up if you've got good accuracy. Curious to see if it's going to be reset. I don't think so. I get a Sake vibe from this one.
Yeah, it's a very good counter against Ariel without cleanse. I think BlossoM may actually have to consider about taking another support for cleanse. I think that's also an option if they want to go all in sustain with Bala maybe possibly coming out. Cho'Gall!
Okay.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be a resurrection game.
Well, they better ban Malthael. But Malthael is coming in, right? Like, Look at Sake's face. He's like, he's like, Rich, can I play him? He's like, can I play him, Rich?
My brain is just fried right now. I think it's very likely with the Resurrect changes to it. It's really rising up with Cho'Gall in quick plays, though not in Hero League that I've seen so far. But we have the picks. I don't think it's a random pick for sure.
No, it's not a random pick. So Cho'Gall Ariel used to be a thing. Remember when Ariel was first released back in the spring season of 2016? We saw a lot of Ariel Cho'Gall. It was what all the European teams were talking about. We saw it a few times in the IEM Katowice EU regional before spring. I actually was fortunate enough to go and cast that, so that was a really enjoyable tournament. We saw a lot of Cho'Gall there. We saw Hyde playing the Ariel with Cho'Gall on Tempest. It's not something that we've never seen before, but it was never because of the Resurrect. It was just because of the very insane amount of damage output with no mana, the sustain you have with that. So, look, they're highlighting the Greymane and the Leoric, but I think Malthael is a pretty reasonable pick against the Cho'Gall.
There are so many counters to it. The Cursed Bullet, of course, Leoric's percent damage, Tychus's percent damage with Malthael now in Heroes of the Storm. There are so many counters. I think they brought this up pretty quickly. If they were to choose it, actually maybe using the last two picks to bring up Cho'Gall, I think this was done a little bit soon into the draft.
I mean, it's unless Black like knows the counters or could sense that Cho'Gall was coming. I agree with you. If Black knew this was gonna be a Cho'Gall draft, they would just ban one of the two in the second banning phase. They leave Malthael open. I cannot believe it. Cannot believe it.
My goodness.
I mean, there were a lot of considerations, right? The Greymane is very strong here. Any sort of percent-based damage is going to be strong, so Greymane's Cursed Bullet's insanely good. The Leoric percentage-based damage, the anti-tank busting he has, which is one of his best heroes historically, is the Leoric, has decent wave clear, so you have to give some consideration to that too. And then Malthael, who just does percentage-based damage by default, so there's so many counters to Cho'Gall, as you said, that showing it this early in draft leaves you open, and we've seen Cho'Gall picked very few times in HGC, and his win rate is insanely bad.
So there's Tychus bursting down the tank. There's a DPS, and if they just finish it with extra CC, if they want to have CCs, or Malthael at the last pick, even will be perfect with the top solo lane. I think they have everything they want to pick. They can even counter the last two picks from BlossoM.
Well, I mean...
Well, we did not expect to see this kind of draft today for sure. And BlossoM is thinking out of their minds. I wonder what they have in store with the last two picks, though.
This is when like BlossoM picks Malthael, so Black can't last pick it.
Aha.
It's like every time Malthael accidentally clicks Chromie, it like heals her because she has so little health. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not.
It doesn't actually heal her, but you know.
Call me cynical. Okay, call me cynical, but I don't have that. I'm not feeling too good about this BlossoM draft, G-Club, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit worried about it. I don't know if they even know what to lock in here.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with your point here. And BlossoM using it all their time. Okay, Medivh with the protection.
They took the Malthael.
There we go.
Okay, they took the Malthael, which, again, is insanely weak in this situation. As I said, he will heal Chromie when he attacks her virtually. And now Black is like, okay, the Medivh for the protection is a smart move. BlossoM has been drafting Medivh all day, banning it earlier as well, so clearly think Medivh is really strong on this patch. But it's funny because for Black, one of the obvious picks could have been Malthael. They didn't necessarily have to draft it because they have Tychus already. Uther is pretty strong against Cho'Gall. For the fact that he can just point-click stun. Obviously, it's not a stun, but it was just lock them into place. While Chromie does the damage, you have Stitches there as well. And Malthael is going to do a great amount of damage to Stitches. And it does a decent amount of damage in general. It can help focus down the Zerg waves, the Ultras, and things like that. But Ragnaros will be the pick here for MV Black. We could even see Lava Wave here. So, what a game this is. We got Chromie, Ragnaros.
I think that's likely too. With Medivh on the other side for the protection, they can literally save all the damage that's going to burst out with the smash. Maybe we'll see Lava Wave in Korea. Let's see.
All right, guys, it's time for game number 3 with the craziest draft we've seen all of Phase 2. The Cho'Gall, Chromie, Ragnaros, perhaps the Lava Wave, Medivh, and Malthael against not a non-heavy tank composition on this map. I don't know what we are watching, but we are going to watch it. We are going to game number 3. Keep your hype pants on, HGC fans. Let's jump into this game. Okay, so it is going to be Dudu on Gall, Gondar on Cho, just to get that out of the way. Mora on Malthael, Wiz on Ariel, and No Chat on Medivh.
And in red, MVP Black, Reset on Chromie, Sake on Tychus, Gyocha on Uther, Rich on Ragnaros, and Tist on Stitches.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crazy Town. The first hook is real. Medivh protection, though, going to mitigate the damage. This is so funny.
It's unreal and it's real.
Yes. I can confirm. Well, Tychus, when he presses D, he does percentage-based damage to tanks, and as you just saw, when there was no protection on Cho'Gall, he does it pretty fast, so we'll end up crushing the tank if he ever gets caught. Rich is going to struggle in the solo lane and just literally just going to stand there.
And literally, he's going to just clear the wave and go back to his fort. That's what he's going to do all the time. And over time, of course, he's going to lose a sustained fight, though. So there's a protection that BlossoM has been looking for, really removing all that burst damage coming out from Chromie and Tychus. I think if No Chat on Medivh has what it takes to protect Cho'Gall at the perfect timing, just like now, maybe Cho'Gall can live for a while and do all the damage.
So far, so good, right? The protection has been pretty well timed. And we are seeing the hooks not really connecting too well here. Tist not really been a big Stitches player himself. Only at the end of Phase 1 do we ever really see him touch the hero. Top lane matchup still going to be a strong one for Malthael versus Ragnaros, as you can look at the health bars and tell. This doesn't have that sustain. Malthael wins the matchup, can steal the top globe as well because he's got the lane constantly shoved. We are going to see the invade here, though, from Sake, looking for the gank. And this will force him back. No Chat with a quick rotation up. So this should be the top beacon controlled for BlossoM. This is also a 2-lane map where Cho'Gall is going to excel because they're not going to be losing any body soak because there's only 2 lanes on this map.
That's right.
I like that aspect of the pick quite a bit. The lack of mana for Cho'Gall means that he can always be in lane, he can always be sustained, he's cooldown based.
Sustain-wise, I think BlossoM actually wins because Uther with the heals, with lack of mana later on, and also with the long cooldown. If Chromie gets picked, Chromie gets a lot of damage, or even Tychus. Well, with Ariel, there's a real sustain coming out from BlossoM all the time. So I think if they can make it work with the perfect combo with the protection, I think they can win the laning phase too.
There are definitely, I don't want to call them, you know, we were talking about the if situations, where it's like if they can do this, if they can do this. I don't even want to call this that. I feel like in terms of the Cho'Gall pick, you have a really strong sustained bot lane. And the more I think about it, even though the Malthael is going to be stronger against tanks, not necessarily the Zerg waves, and there's only one tank here for Black, the solo lane is insanely strong for Malthael. So much so that Black has just said, with the more sustain here in the 4v3, the more sustain, we're just going to let them have the 4v3 with the Cho'Gall. It's really a 3v3, but, you know, obviously Cho'Gall's 2 heroes. So they rotated Sake up to top to deal with the Malthael in solo. I like Black's response, but when you think about the end result, it's definitely a positive for BlossoM. So you have the 4v3 and bot when you have the rotation up to deal with Malthael. If you don't deal with Malthael, then you lose the top lane. So it's annoying. It's hard for Black to ever maintain control of these beacons.
That's exactly why Sake is always going up, really pressuring hard, even taking the camp, because whenever Sake goes down, Rich will lose his pressure on the lane, and they will counter it with their own camp. Also, note Mehdi went up for the time being. Wiz has to really keep the sustain onto Cho'Gall, and he's doing a fine job right now.
Well, I have to say that, you know, I judged this draft perhaps too early. I think this is pretty intelligent, what we're seeing here from BlossoM. It looked like it was made on the fly, based on the fact that they waited so long to actually lock in heroes as Reset gets dove here, very low on health. Wiz actually looks for the heal onto Cho'Gall, but Cho'Gall may be body blocked out here. No way out of this one. And as you can see, Sake just doing an insane amount of extra damage. Wiz wanted to stick around. Wiz is just totally untouched here. Mora does rotate down, but here's the temporal loop. Not actually going to commit there. Actually, not the temporal loop. It was the stasis there. Sorry, my bad.
You got way too excited there for a second.
I did.
But I think Wiz really giving the strike and putting Tychus away for the minigun day. I'm pretty sure Tychus was doing the minigun dage the moment he was onto the lock on to the Cho'Gall. Wiz pushing him away from the fight, saved Cho'Gall for the moment, and of course they lost both of the heroes, but notice how much damage he put out for the few seconds he lived. I think if with Mehdi, Mehdi was there also to protect Cho'Gall, I think they could have won the fight even. So as you said, their draft does not look actually too bad against this comp right now.
Well, they're looking to try to grab this beacon. They just barely do not as Cho'Gall's back here. The sustain does show. Already the self-protection here from No Chat, but he does not actually contribute any further. It's Cho'Gall's looking for the kill here, the dive on the Sake. They get the kill. Wiz completely untouched in all of these team fights, just sitting back, giving heals after heals after heals.
Look at that sustain. It's crazy coming out from Wiz and No Chat when Cho'Gall needs an escape. There's a portal for the escape, and this comp is looking amazing. Actually, Rich winning this top lane fight too.
I'm not entirely sure how that started, but Rich looks to be bombing it. Mora forced to back. His coach is on the unhappiness cloud here. Here's another hook. Finally, they get Wiz. He actually gets pulled into cannon tower range. Once we start to see some better target priority, I think, from Black, even though their comp is designed to burn tanks, if they could kill the Ariel first, then that sustain that we're seeing in all these team fights where Wiz is just like, I guess no one even notices I'm here, just sits in the back and heals, that's not going to be the case anymore. It's like the Focus Morales argument, right? In this case, it's Focus Ariel, so as you can see here, there's another hook. They're looking for Wiz, but so much pressure onto Reset here comes in from Cho'Gall. Even with the stun here, Reset does not get away. Gets killed by the detainment strike. And this game looks like it could definitely turn on its head here as Wiz is just carrying these fights. The lane swap here with a duo in the top with Rich and Sake does get them a fort. But I'm worried for the longer, later stages of this game, the beacon control. Because right now it's pretty even, but if this continues, if they can't find a way to consistently kill Wiz, he doesn't even have Aegis yet. Imagine when he does. If they can't consistently kill him, then Cho'Gall is just going to carry these fights again and again and again.
Right now, BlossoM is winning the sustained duel for sure. But now, Chromie has a temporal loop. He can even use the temporal loop onto Cho'Gall to have him go back to his original positioning before the dive. For Chromie's own safety, that's also possible with Divine Shield, another protection onto Black. Now they have the tools to actually protect themselves. You have to see the later fights after 10.
Ooh, No Chat gets gorged here, though. See if they can actually make this fight happen again. Wiz completely untouched in this fight. MVP Black is now split by Cho'Gall. Divine Shield used onto Stitches here. Nice dodge with a shove here coming out from Cho'Gall. Actually will survive. And Rich is looking for the deep dive here. I don't think he's going to enjoy the results as he will get taken out. Uses his smash as well. And this is just all gone wrong for MVP Black. Wiz is just untouched in these team fights. The split there from Cho'Gall, really well executed. And because Chromie took Slowing Sands instead of the temporal loop, it just feels like there's no way to find Wiz as a target with the really nice peeling that we're seeing coming out from Cho'Gall. Looking to try to burn him down now. He might have overstayed his welcome.
Now
this is dangerous.
And now Black will have 100% for the Zerg wave, but BlossoM actually got 64. They do have very decent wave clear with Cho'Gall on the front line now, but they're onto the chase.
Oh, here's the kill onto Wiz. Finally, they find him. So we're just going to see Leyline Seal used here. Bit of a questionable one. Kyocha is caught. They're not able to capitalize on this. Here comes out the Tormented Souls. The stasis here for Chromie, though, to protect herself. Reset will survive through all of this. Wasn't going to take much damage from that anyways. She's Chromie after all, but would have died there. Does survive. It's a better trade here for MBU Black.
Even without Ario, they have the protection and they didn't really lack into sustained damage. Cho'Gall really pouring so much damage in the front line as they're even popping the Molten Core to actually block the Zerg wave.
So obviously he went for the smash. We were joking about Lava Wave earlier, but this is the main reason why Ragnaros is chosen, is just to deal with the Zerg wave straight up. The same way Diva would be chosen on this map. Big dive in again on the reset. This time there's no protection. Aegis comes off here. Will they actually be able to get No Chat out of here? The answer is no at the end of the day. Do they have enough damage to actually turn this fight? No ammo on this fort. Sake did pop Odin, and this is going to force the retreat.
Even
oh,
Odin,
the hook and the gorge. This is huge. It's a double gorge, basically.
And Odin should be done with the minigun available on from Tychus. There's a massive damage for the percentage. Even onto the chase, onto Wiz now. Looking for the hook. Not going to do it.
So that's no more Master's Touch stacks. This is a problem. That was a big turning point in this game, I feel like, because they dealt with the Zerg wave appropriately. They showed the power of Molten Core. Got the triple kill there in total. 3 deaths on the side of BlossoM. And now they can start pressuring this bot fort. The top fort was killed by the Zerg wave. MBU Black, we didn't really get a shot of that. Not really significant. But now they take the talent tier advantage. And it seems like they're starting to figure out how to focus. But this could be a big combo.
Cho'Gall coming in, but the Sands is slowing everyone up, and Reset is looking for his life all the time. The focus is on Reset every single beginning of the fight, and takes down Chromie again.
Really good Leyline Seal there. Now Rich is caught trying to speed boost himself here with his Q. We do see the Tormented Soul popped again. Rich survives for a long time but won't get out. Aegis is popped here. Sake looks for the kill on Namora. Does not get it. There's the heal. And this is going to be at least 4 dead for the side of MBU Black. Tist is taken out. Kyocha the only one who walks out alive. And what a crazy game we were watching. So remember, in that last fight, it all started with a 3 or 4 man Leyline Seal. You just have the really nice engage coming out, the Twilight Hammer, all the extra damage, Malthael's Tormented Soul, burning through everyone's health. His self-sustaining heals, he's just popping the Q. Medivh gives him the protection, then the Oriole heals come out. So much sustain on the side of BlossoM. If they can't kill Wiz, it feels like they can't win a fight.
Yeah, and every time they've been focusing on Chromie, that's the thing. And for Kyocha, it's a tough decision to use Divine Shield on Chromie, because Chromie will die very easily even after the Divine Shield. So I think that's a very questionable decision that he's been really indecisive at the moment. Chromie has been dying from the beginning of the fights all the time. And choosing Slowing Sand instead of Temporal Loop, I think that's also questionable here.
I'm a bit surprised by it. I think it can give a lot of extra peeling power. It can help. It doesn't give you the same combos you can get with her abilities, but you can set them up easier with the slows. It's kind of a double slow on Cho'Gall, the same way it's a double gorge on Cho'Gall, but I have to agree with you, because the temporal loop works the same way, and you're up against an Oriole. If you force out the Aegis early, then use the temporal loop, you're golden. You can also force the Aegis with the temporal loop, so there's a lot of different things you can do with it against this team composition. Anyways, they didn't choose it, and I think it's been decent for them with the slowing sands. Just not what I expected. So as we approach 16 here, BlossoM has the edge. They have the Merc Camp control right now. And we do see the beacon taken for them. It was stolen very briefly by Rich. And we'll see if they can hold on to that. Seems unlikely, as Rich is actually tangoing down there on the bot beacon with Medivh. So No Chat just trying to get some more stacks to finish that Master's Touch quest. Mora comes in for the flank, definitely wants to engage with this. Drops down his heroic here. Immediately the stasis used, but Sake has to be Divine Shielded here. He does escape for the time being, doesn't pop his Odin. So a trade 2 for 2 for heroics here. Actually 2 for 1 in favor of Black.
And also BlossoM's going to steal the camp for the time being. And Chromie has been poking, but always in a dangerous spot when Cho'Gall dives. So maybe with a lot of spare armor built into 13s like Tychus and also Ragnaros, because they now know the danger, the damage output from Cho'Gall. With all the protection, he's just freely diving and doing all the damage he wants to do. Black has to really find an answer to it right now. Maybe leaving Stitches on the back line, using Helping Hand to really save Chromie instead. I think that's also a very good response against BlossoM right now. And Rich is caught off guard. Yep,
he is going to get dove here by this very aggressive invade that we were seeing from BlossoM. They were on the red side of the map. They find this kill. And they're just roaming as 5 right now. Now they're going to go for another invade. They're basically just looking to get picks to get the beacon. Black 4v5 here, going to really struggle to find this team fight. Hook unfortunately hits only the Raven, which is invulnerable. So, you can see the arguments against Temporal Loop when you have a Medivh there, you have the Aegis. But it feels like you could add so much impact to the team fight, force the Aegis out, force the shielding to be used, the protection coming out from Medivh. Then maybe look for afterwards the pick onto Wiz, or perhaps you Temporal Loop Cho'Gall and then use and then he gets Aegis. Then you look for the pick onto Ariel. That'll be opportunities they could have had, and I could see why they'd pick the slows. And I don't think it's a bad pick here, but really just adding food for thought here. That's why Black is struggling so hard. They're going to lose a full beacon. Looks like 100-0 here as they look to try to invade and stop this with the respawns coming in. Aegis comes out once again. There's the protection. And Sake finds himself overextended, does get cleansed there against the Detainment Strike, and they do have this fort. Mora may have overextended. Nice kill. It's Sake who secures it with the grenade. They're going to try to turn this around. Kyocha, though, does go down, but he can give the extra healing now to Sake. Not if he's leyline sealed, though.
But here comes Ragnaros on the form Zerg Wave. He has to use it anyhow to protect from the Zerg Wave coming in. No chat died at the very end from Ragnaros' skills. That's rip stacks again once more.
Yeah, rip stacks indeed. With these picks, this is not as strong of a Zerg Wave push as it could have been. Tist is going to go down here. They don't have the sustain to fight against the Cho'Gall, and Sake is about to lose that Odin. Looks like they're going to try to fight this. Wiz comes over. He's out of position. What a cool fight here by BlossoM. MVP Black, perhaps a bit overconfident here. The focus fire switching several times, but never onto Wiz as much as it should have been. It looks like Rich will eventually go down here to have the full team wipe. No Detainment Strike. Oh, maybe it will be actually. Wiz is coming in. Rich stays too long. Cannot believe that just happened. Divine Shield misclicked by Kyocha. Trying to hit Rich. Misclicks, hits himself, wastes the heroic. And MVP Black is falling apart. We could have our first HGC 2017 Cho'Gall win tonight if this continues.
I think it's very likely too at this moment. That I cannot believe what we just saw. Of course, missing. I'm pretty sure Mary Day is watching this at home, almost crying in tears.
He's like, I will not make a statement about this. Well, that's going to be the boss. When you hear that beautiful remastered StarCraft music in the background, everyone's in the Stukov waiting room right now. So, obviously a lot of aggression coming out here for BlossoM. They're yet again just going to basically be hyper-aggressive, continue to stall time, to wait for the next beacon phase, control that with the lane pressure they have from the boss, and they just continue to snowball their lead, snowball their advantage. And Black, you know, at this stage, looks like they just cannot figure out a way to deal with the Ariel Cho'Gall play. It's an old style, but it definitely checks out here today. Mora dives over the wall here. Go ahead and drops down his Tormented Soul. Will be caught here, actually. Forced to portal away.
Does have all the protection. He was just forcing all of that back with the aggro, with the healing on himself, with the Soul Rip. Make sure the boss does as much as damage possible onto the keep. They're not going to get the keep, but they are very close to 20 indeed.
Well, they save the keep using Molten Core, which is expensive. It just feels like Black is frustrated. You can see small misplays with how they're controlling things. The missed Divine Shield earlier. I'm seeing The slow coming out from Chromie, just leaving it out there, wasting mana. Sometimes Rich gets picked off here nearly. The heals are coming out. Will they be able to turn this? Really big stun here coming out onto Cho'Gall. There's no follow-up, though, as Sake is just way too low to continue to fight Rich as well. And they just can't even take control of their own camps. The beacons are channeled. This is going to be level 21st for BlossoM. This could be the keep this time. Molten Core still on cooldown. Worried for them, G-Clef. I thought this was, when I saw how this draft was going for BlossoM, I thought Black had the answers. They didn't pick Malthael. They decided they were going to go Tychus. They're going to go that route instead. They wanted to take the CC route with Uther and Stitches. And at the end of the day, they just can't kill Wiz. The Malthael pick seems to be pretty strong. Strong in the soul lane in the early game. In the late game, just adding some extra DPS, adding some extra peel for MVP Black. And this may be the winning push.
Yeah, Cho'Gall level 20. This may actually be keep. I don't know if Rich has Molten Core back. I think it's still on cooldown, and I think No Chat is the key player on right now. On, of course, lost all his stacks, but giving protection at the perfect timing. Seems like Gorge was used.
Okay, Sake is super low, pushed back. They're going to get the pick on the Malthael, but that's not the more important one. Rich gets caught here by the Leyline Seal, but there's no follow-up damage. Not enough anyways, and you can see that percentage-based damage coming out. When Sake is free to actually do damage in team fights, it shows. He's, of course, in Odin form currently, but there's the pick onto Rich already. The slow coming out here with the fort. This time the Divine Shield is good. It's not bulwarked, though, because they don't have 20 yet. The portal comes in, and they are just trying to finish off this keep. So much sustained with no mana on Cho'Gall. They will get this keep, the first of the game. And yeah, the synergy here is just not on point with some of these abilities we're seeing coming out. They're not able to pick Wiz off at all. The hooks, follow-up is not there. This has just been, you know, the dream composition for BlossoM. Whenever you see the Cho'Gall Ariel, you think, well, this is what it could be like if everything goes correctly, if we play everything right, if our positioning is never wrong, and Ariel's never picked off. And BlossoM has this game that makes Cho'Gall look broken, even though he's not really meta at all right now.
With this perfect protection from the back line, as I was highlighting, No Chat, he was giving Portal at the right time to engage, also to disengage, giving protection whenever Tychus comes in with the minigun, limiting all the percent base damage onto Cho'Gall every single time. It has been super frustrating for Sake to do almost no damage every single time during the team fight. He had to pop the Odin to do all the AoE damage onto the back line of BlossoM. Even that was not possible because there's always the Medivh using the portal to make the safe way out of all the dangerous situations for BlossoM.
Looks like BlossoM accidentally aggroed the boss here, so a little bit of extra damage done to Cho'Gall. Not going to be too significant. I do agree with your points, though, and it's tough to really point out one thing that Black could have done differently. I think drafting Malthael would have been strong here because they could have dealt with the Cho'Gall more handily overall. They have the Divine Shield to protect Malthael, too, with the Uther pick. And they thought the Tychus would be enough. The Chromie picked early. Not a response to the Cho'Gall picked before the Cho'Gall, so it was a first pick Chromie. So that doesn't really work very well against us, especially when Wiz just will not be killed ever because positioning is too good. And I would like to see Reset's hero damage in this game because I guarantee it's at least a third less than what we're seeing here from Gall, who's played by Dudu in this case. So, I mean, the skill shots accuracy have not been good. The dodges have been good for BlossoM, and the dives onto Reset are consistent. We see one here, yet again, forcing him to stasis. Here's the Molten Core coming out, though. BlossoM will have to respect this.
For defensive use, and Gorge actually can't. Did it get cancelled in the midway?
No, he ate it
actually
there.
grabs No Chat, but is protected. There's the ley lancing, grabbing all four of them.
Oh, this is disastrous now. Rich will, of course, expire on this Molten Core. Here's the pickoff first onto Kyocha. Reset is dove upon. Can't do anything. Kyocha desperately tries to keep him alive. Not good enough. And this may just be game. It's a 62k Zerg wave now with 2 dead on the side of MVP Black. That's the redemption gone now. So basically, Uther killed twice, so you could almost argue it's a 4 kill. Now it technically is with Tist going down. The second Uther death there. That's the full team wipe. That is game, and Cho'Gall will win his first game of HGC Korea. And MVP Black, they had the momentum in this series. It was looking dominant for them, but can't really say that anymore.
Cho'Gall is OP with the perfect combination with Medivh and Auriel. That was incredible coming out from BlossoM. I've got to say they really caught MVP Black off guard right now, and seems like, as you can see from their faces, Sake is very frustrated.
Rich even more so. That was that was definitely like not the result I expected. Even after seeing the weird finish of the draft for Black, where they didn't draft Malthael and Chromie, you know, it can be strong if she can hit her skill shots or if there's any pairing there. But the Auriel, the Medivh, the protection coming out, it was the unkillable Cho'Gall. We saw unkillable Murky destroy Korea, destroy Team DK back at BlizzCon 2015. It felt like that was the unkillable Cho'Gall. This unkillable Wiz's positioning was really good. They could never punish him. Thing is, like, you're what if I just hook Wiz, which only happened like once in that game. He just ages himself. I was like, well, why aren't you hooking him? Well, because Cho'Gall's in my face and I can't hook him. I keep hooking the Cho'Gall, but he wants to be on the back line. He wants to be killing Reset. He's killing Reset every time, forcing Reset to stasis, which means he's not doing any damage. If I had an observing PC, I would tell you guys the hero damage on Reset that game, but I guarantee it was way, 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 way low.
Also, the build on Chromie, because basically all the skill damage will do less damage. Chromie could have went for the Q, the Sand, or the Dragon Breath, but instead went for the auto attack. If you want to do the auto attack, you have to get close to the enemy, which exactly the timing happens to be Cho'Gall diving on top of your face. So the build was also not perfect, and also BlossoM knowing that Chromie will go into that build. I think that was the perfect counter too.
I just liked how the draft was executed. Like, it looked silly at first. It was like, oh, you've seen this before. There's so many counters to Cho'Gall, but they didn't pick all of them. They didn't draft around the Cho'Gall. I think MVP Black didn't take it as seriously as perhaps they should have. I didn't either. With just looking at the draft, when they finished things off with the Ragnaros pick, and they had the Stitches there on the second stage after the second man phase, it was a little bit weird. The Tychus made sense to me. The Stitches you could make arguments for, but I don't know, guys. It was definitely a weird game, but well played by BlossoM. And we are going to go to game 4 now with them having the map pick, so they'll get to pick a map here against Black. Remember, Black chose Braxis, which is kind of unusual in itself.
Yeah, that's right. They chose